everybody. Welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda, and I'm here with my brother, Eric.
How you guys doing? Hope everybody's having a wonderful week. And once again, we just want to thank you guys for being so supportive. If you could, find us on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, all the shorts and reels and all that stuff. It's all out there. If you could share those things with a friend or push the like button, we would really appreciate it. And by the way, if you're listening to this on Spotify, our full episodes are also on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts rather, and the full podcasts are on YouTube as well. But if you're on YouTube, they're also on Spotify. They're on Apple. They're everywhere. So find us on your favorite player.
We are everywhere. Nice. Yeah, and today we're talking about Stranger Things, but we also do talk about Friends. We have 2 episodes of Friends released each week, and we have this 1 episode of Stranger Things each week as well. So if you haven't checked those out, feel free to swing over there. We would love to have you there. Get your thoughts on what you think about that show. And so to kind of recap where we're at in Stranger Things, today we're going to be talking about episode 8, but where we were up to, so episode 7, or chapter 7 rather, we were with Mike, 11, Dustin, and Lucas as they raced away on their bikes to escape Dr. Brenner and his people from the Power and Light. In the Power and Light vans, with the government agency. We had Nancy and Jonathan share the photo of Barb and the monster with Joyce and Hopper. And then as a group together, they all built a sensory deprivation pool at the school where 11 sees Barb and Will. Joyce and Hopper were stopped by policemen at the Department of Energy, while Nancy and Jonathan were then stealing their weapons pretty easily, we noted, back from the Hawkins Police Department. And finally, we were with Will in the Upside Down, where he's being stalked by the Demogorgon. And right at the end there, that's when we saw he was in his fort, and all the walls got busted down. So that's where they left us in chapter 7.
Yeah, and that was easily so far my favorite episode that we've gone through.
That's right.
We're going to rate these episodes at the end of the podcast. I think I gave it a 9 last week, or I gave it an 8.9. It was a 9 last week.
Yeah.
Just really enjoyed seeing everyone banding together, which we hadn't seen really yet at all. We've had all these disjointed stories working themselves out, but then when it all kind of accumulated, that was really fun for me to see. That was my favorite part of this show. But now we're here at the finale. This is season 1 coming to a close.
Mm-hmm.
And in all honesty, I had forgot that before I turned it on, because there are 9 episodes in some seasons and 8 in others. And for whatever reason in my head, I had this as a 9-episode season, and it's not.
Oh,
so
okay.
This is the finale for season 1, and next season 2 and then season 4 both have 9 episodes in them. So season 3 goes back to 8. But yeah, so we're here though. This is it. We're running it down.
Nice. That's right. Yeah. I feel like 8 has become kind of the standard for a lot of seasons, but yeah, they also get mixed up all the time.
What happened to 25? 25 used to be the standard.
25. Well, that's why you guys have to come and listen to our friends' podcast coverage as well, because those have nice lengthy seasons, although they are like 20-minute episodes.
They're much shorter episodes, but
yeah, yeah, still. So today we're covering chapter 8. And it's called The Upside Down.
Fitting.
That's right. So in this episode, we start off with Joyce in handcuffs in the interrogation room. And she's just screaming, let me out of here. And then we hear Papa saying, we know that you've been in contact with your son. When and how have you been doing that? He's trying to coax this information out of Joyce. He's telling Joyce 6 people have been taken this week, which was interesting to me, Eric. I'm like, wait a second. Like, was he fabricating part of that to Or was that real? Because I feel like I did not end up looking at that
I
detail,
heard
but I
that too.
wasn't sure if
That made me stop and pause for a moment. In my head, I was
yeah.
counting up real quick. Okay, we have Will, we have Barb, we also have Shepard, who went involuntarily and was taken off the chain. So there's 3 at least. Um, if you
That's true. I
if
wasn't thinking about
yeah,
Shepard.
I can't think of any others. That doesn't mean that we just never saw them. But I also think there's
Mm.
something to just, Dr. Brenner is sitting here giving Joyce a very similar pitch to the one that he gave the Wheelers, which is
Yes.
the whole, listen, I want to help you, but you have to give me information so I can help you. And while it works on the Wheelers and while it would work on most parents, Joyce has seen and knows enough
Mhm.
that she knows
Right.
this is ridiculous, and she tells him to go to hell. And that's where we kind of leave that
Yeah.
conversation.
That's right. Yeah, and she confronts him as very straight with him. You faked his death and now you're asking me for help. It's like, I know what you've done. And meanwhile, in another room we have Hopper getting shocked with a taser.
Yeah,
So
as
they're
one does.
really it's like yeah, so we kind of have like good cop bad cop going on in these separate rooms, and you know, it's this one dude, and then the who I looked up her name because I kept calling her social worker lady, the lady with the blonde hair. She is Agent Connie Frazier, asking him what he knows. So Hopper's saying, I know you guys messed up in a big way and you're just trying to cover your tracks. And they want to know who he's working with. And then they just keep shocking him with this taser, right? So,
They do.
they're telling him, you made a big mistake coming back here. And he's going back with, you're going to let us go and forget and we will forget any of this ever happened. So it's like he's trying to just tell them, listen, let us go and we won't say anything else. We're just going to walk away. Please just let us go, you know? But then back at the school, we're with the boys and they are looking around for Nancy and Jonathan. And 11 knows that they went to fight the Demogorgon. So they're wondering, well, they knew that Nancy and Jonathan were both supposed to be at the school with them. Well, they're now out of here. And I think Mike also wants to then go and find his sister. And they're kind of having that debate going back and forth. Well, should we stay here? Or should we go out there?
Should we stay or should we go? Right?
Hey, right.
Hey, just
yes, that is a central theme. Good call. And then we're with John and Nancy, who are setting up the traps and loading their guns at the buyer's house. They're pouring gasoline all over the place. I'm watching this like, are they just planning on burning the house down? I mean, is that the goal here?
This is Nancy and Jonathan going, hey, you want to see what we would really do if Home Alone was a real movie?
Yes.
And there were actual bad guys coming to get us. This is how you lay it out. And you get a baseball bat that you're hammering nails through, bear traps, kerosene. You put the light bulbs back in so you can track them. Like, they had this thing locked down. And they had a whole game plan. They didn't have the cool map that Kim and McAllister had, but they knew the deal, which was get down the hall, get into the room, and when the yo-yo moves, throw the lighter.
Yeah, they're not just putting Matchbox cars on the ground to trip this thing.
They are not.
Yeah, the nails in the bat was my favorite touch. Sure. And yeah, and then we're back with Papa and Hopper in the interrogation room where and I know, guys, I keep going back and forth between calling him Papa and Dr. Brenner, same dude. But where he's then handing Hopper a cigarette, trying to ease it to like lower his guard, and he's asking him, where's the girl? So then I guess that his role tends to be good cop. I think he's trying to soften the tone a little bit, and Hopper's saying back to him, give me your word that you're leaving the kids alone and no one will find out about this, and then I'll tell you where your science experiment is, meaning 11.
Right.
And then Hopper is brought into the other interrogation room with Joyce, and they're released as long as they agreed not to tell anyone the Department of Energy was involved with this. So then we're with them putting on the hazmat suits again and entering in that area of the lab with all the, the particles floating around. And then you kind of cut to this other quick conversation between Papa, or Dr. Brenner, and Agent Connie Fraser, the blonde lady, and where he's just kind of saying to her, they're never gonna tell anyone, basically, because they're never gonna get out of there, right?
Right.
Like, he's like, sure. Yeah, like, sure, go back there, guys. Like, good luck, because he saw what happened to, what was his name on the court again? You mentioned him earlier. Shepard, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is really smart of Dr. Brenner for him just thinking, or I guess let me say it backwards. I said the wrong name. I think it was really smart of Hopper to offer up the idea of, hey, listen, you give us this information and let us go, and we won't tell anybody. But whoever accepts that deal, nobody ever in any movie has ever been like, oh, okay, we'll just take your word for it that you're not going to say anything. That it's a good concept for Hopper to say that, right? So then when we go back, it's smart for Dr. Brenner to then say, oh yeah, here you go. Give us all the information. Sure. You go on in. Here's everything you need.
Good luck to you.
We're going to go our separate ways. Meanwhile, he knows they're dead, and he's just going to go get Elle. And so it is a little disappointing to see when Hopper is trying to like explain the deal to Joyce, like, hey, listen, we're going to go in there. We're going to get Will. We're going to get out of here, and we're going to forget that all this ever happened. He does not mention that he's given up Elle as part of the bargain. He does not say that to her. And I think it was notable because she had started to make a real connection with her in the previous episode. And Hopper knows this is the way to get everybody. He's got to give up something. And 11 doesn't really mean anything to him at this moment. Yeah. So easy one to lift out.
Well, and I guess I didn't. Yeah, you're right. I didn't really pick up on that detail. And I guess I figured, I know that he said, I'll tell you where your little science experiment is. But I guess I figured
he had to tell them before they left.
Yeah.
Because they went, fast forward into this episode, they go right to where she is.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I guess I was thinking, though, because that's where the rest of the kids are too. So would he really have put the rest of the kids in danger?
So Hopper's given, like, hopefully through their deal, the word is you can have Elle, just leave the 3 boys alone.
Yeah, which is clearly what their objective was when they get to the school, but we will get to that. Yeah. And once again, then all of that with Hop and Joyce entering the gate is then credits roll right at
9 minutes, 40 seconds.
I looked at that too.
9 minutes, 40 seconds. We're almost 10 minutes into the season finale before we get the credits. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that was a good intro there. And now we're with Hopper telling Joyce to relax and slow her breathing because she is freaking out in the Upside Down, right? Like she's really starting to... I would
imagine most people would.
Yeah. Especially since like you're trying to like you think your child is alive on this in this other dimension. You've just gone through this like portal and really crazy. And then we have this flashback of Hopper with his daughter. And Eric got it. I mean, this whole episode in general, I got real emotional. I mean, listen, it doesn't take a whole lot to make me shed some tears, but this one, this was really, really just between touching and just super sad at different points. And like this whole sequence with this flashback with Hopper, where he's with his daughter telling her to slow her breathing. And no, in this scene, we're just with him, with his daughter and his wife, playing in a park, right?
Yeah.
But she's clearly struggling with breathing. And so whether it's asthma at that point or undiagnosed, some other illness, which we will get into. But yeah, that's this is them just trying to calm her down, which then he's relating to this moment with Joyce.
I thought it's real important for this scene with Hopper and his daughter, because we've heard about the daughter before. We haven't actually seen the daughter. And, listen, as we go forward in this episode, this just lays out like the opportunity that Hopper has here for a second chance to save someone. When we already know it's not going to work out with his daughter. We already know that.
Yes.
But he's on the mission to help Joyce save her son. And these flashbacks where we're now seeing him with his daughter, it really ties it together, which is why it's so emotional.
Yes.
Which is why it gets so emotional, these scenes.
Yes. No, so true. And we'll see more of them together soon. But first we clip to a scene with Nancy and Jonathan where it's just a really quick scene where they're cutting their hands to lure in the Demogorgon with their blood, because they have this theory where, hey, this thing is going to sense our blood and it's going to come to us, right? Like just as a shark would. And Jonathan's kind of looking at Nancy like, you don't have to do this. She's like, oh, I'm in this with you too. I'm doing this too. So
what? I feel like I would have picked a different body part than like the palm of my hand.
Right, like especially he's gonna be swinging that bat. That's a great point.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, guys, you need your hands.
I would have gone
your leg, anything.
Ankle.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna need the palms of my hands here to defeat the Demogorgon a little bit.
Like even I don't know, anywhere, like your shoulder, it's really just about anywhere would have been better than the palm of your hand. And it was a big cut too. Like,
they didn't leave it to any chance. Like they were letting all the blood out. Like
it was
right.
That's so funny. Yeah. And then we have Dustin and Lucas where they want to stick to the plan and stay with Elle at the school so she can recharge. And Mike is really at this point, he's like, I want to find my sister. I want to find Nancy. But they kind of convince him, like, let's just hang out here for a while. And then Dustin decides, you know what? I want to go find pudding. I heard that there was pudding. And so I'm off to find a snack.
I think it was also noteworthy that I don't think Dustin and Lucas had ever been on the same page before in this sort of situation.
Yeah.
Where now Dustin is siding with Lucas and not Mike.
Yes.
And so Mike kind of is like, all right, well, I guess we're staying because they both are saying, no, we're staying together.
Yeah.
And really, Mike, where are you going?
Yeah.
Where are you going, Mike? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
What are you about to do here?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and they've been there for a while now. So I'm sure they could use like a little bit of food also. Like, I don't know even.
Oh, yeah.
Like who knows when the last time they ate. So they're Dustin is on snack duty and Lucas is with him. And then we jump back to that scene with John and Nancy where, John is saying, my mom said the lights speak when it comes, meaning when the monster, the Demogorgon is here, the lights speak and they start flashing. And Nancy is also helping to bandage up their hands because I feel like, the blood is out there now. So apparently they feel like, all right, well, it'll get lowered at this point. And just then we hear this loud banging at the door and it's Steve.
Yeah.
And he's there because it's like, well,
out of left field, by the way.
Yeah. And
out of left field, Steve coming out of nowhere because Jonathan and Nancy almost had kind of a little bit of a moment there with the bandages.
Yes.
And then banging on the door is Steve. And
this is the buyer's house. Because for a moment I'm like, oh, he's there to see Nancy. But it's like, wait, no.
He's there to see Jonathan. And I think he's still on his quest
Yes.
to
Make things
you
right.
know, make things right. He's done with his old friends. He's gone and fixed the movie theater. He's coming to Jonathan's house to try and like make good. And then when Nancy's there and she's hurt, he sees this and immediately thinks, oh, did he do this to you? And he breaks in and Nancy pulls a gun on him.
Oh my God, this scene, it was so out of control.
I'm like, I'm just trying to put myself in Steve's mindset. Like, what galaxy have I just walked into right now?
I know, it's like this whole scene, everything happened so fast too. It's like him noticing her hand, being like, well, I'm busting in here, and then he saw the bat on the ground with like all like the nails poking out of it too, and he's like, and he's smelling the gasoline, and he's like, what the hell is happening? You know, Nancy's holding the gun to him saying, you need to leave. You have 5 seconds to get out of here. You're right. He's like, who is this person? And like, where am I?
Then you get all the lights flashing and the Demogorgon is crawling through the ceiling out into their space. And Steve has got to have lost his mind at this point. Like, coming in, trying to talk to Jonathan, having a gun pulled on him, like trying to make good with Jonathan, then wanting to attack Jonathan, then having a gun pulled on him by Nancy, then having a creature crawl through the ceiling.
Oh my God.
Not to mention, the entire environment around him is a giant booby trap.
It's insane. Yes.
He has got to be losing it right now, and he kind of does.
Yeah, as one would, right? And then Nancy,
bad for Steve here.
I do too. And then Nancy literally is like opening fire on this thing, so she's shooting at it, but it's not stopping. And all 3 of them then run into one of the back bedrooms. And then it becomes real quiet, and it's like eerie quiet where you know a monster is probably out there, but it's not making a sound. And they kind of creep out of the room really slowly at that point. And then we're back to a different scene with Hopper and Joyce, where they're in the Upside Down. And they then spot the destroyed castle buyers, right? And Joyce starts screaming for Will. And that's when Hopper also sees this little stuffed tiger, which is exactly like what his daughter had. And at this point, it's exactly like what his daughter had in the hospital bed. So now we learn his daughter had cancer. And you see her without any hair. And he's reading to his daughter in bed, and then there's this other really quick scene within that moment where he's just totally broken down and crying in the stairwell. And at this point I was crying too. It was just, oh my gosh, this whole scene. They didn't really even have to, Eric, like you said, when we first started covering this show, they do such a great job of like showing without telling. And this was just another one of those scenes where it's like, there really wasn't any dialogue outside of him reading to his daughter. And it was just so emotional just from what you saw. It was really well done.
Yeah, this is a tough scene.
Yeah,
this is a tough scene, and again, you know, fantastic work here.
Yeah, by
all involved. Yeah. And I know, like the little girl, we're just meeting her as an actress. The wife, we're just meeting her. But this is all them around Hopper. We know Hopper. We are seeing his reactions to it all, and him kind of laying down at a staircase, just not having the answers. As a police officer who likes to be able to find the solution to the problem, he can't find a solution to this problem, and it is killing it. And then all of a sudden snaps out of it, and you just hear Joyce calling for Will again. And so now he's looking around going, right, okay. And he starts yelling for Will, trying to find Will that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And then right after that, we're back at the Byers' house.
Yeah.
And Jonathan is creeping around the corner with that bat
Yep.
with the nails hanging out of it. And Nancy has the gun. And we were both watching this, like, Pedro and I were watching this, like, Steve needs a weapon. Like, where is Steve's weapon?
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be armed with something at this point. Like, oh my goodness. And Steve is just saying, this is crazy, like, over and over again. And he starts dialing the phone. And at this point, it's like, Nancy is smashing the phone.
Nancy grabs the phone and
she's
throws
like,
it, like, what do you think this is going to do? Who's coming here?
Yes.
Either you're in this or you're out.
Yes.
And she tries to get him to run,
come back.
and he does.
Yeah.
He actually does. He heads out to the car, and he gets to the car.
Yes.
He's scrambling to get in. He gets the door open. He looks back at the house, and he just sees all the lights flashing from the outside.
Yes. And this was really reminiscent of when Joyce was really scared early on, and she ran out to her car, like, I'm out of here, after it started to come through the wall, and then she saw the lights flashing and made a different choice. So, but all we know is that Steve is outside at this point. The lights go out, and at this point, we're back inside with Jonathan and Nancy,
Right.
and it pins Jonathan down.
Yeah, it kind of just
see this
comes
figure
up from behind him.
Oh,
Yep.
It was so scary. Yeah. And Nancy is then shooting it, but it gets right back up, right? And then we see Steve just bust in, and he's hitting it with the bat over and over and over again. And that's when he manages to push it so far back that it gets trapped in that bear trap that they have in the hallway. And then they're all working as a team, because then Jonathan is right there and he's throwing the lighter at it. And this thing just goes up in flames at that point,
Yep.
right? Because they have this carpet then soaked in gasoline or kerosene or whatever they had. And this thing is lit up, right?
Yeah.
And then we have a flash of the Upside Down, and Joyce and Hopper can hear the beast screaming from that side. And it's like it had partially started to teleport back, I think. Like, as it's injured,
Well,
it's kind of like going between, right? That's kind of how I had
There's this
interpreted
whole
that.
concept of, like, being able to hear the Upside Down still
Mhm.
when you're on the other side. So while Joyce and Hopper are in the Upside Down, they can hear this monster screeching, and they start making their way towards that, which
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
Joyce's house.
Mhm.
And we have Jonathan then and Nancy and Steve kind of like approaching the trap and seeing
Mhm.
that this trap is got this like sizzling goo in it. And Jonathan's like,
Yeah.
it's got to be there. It's got to be there. And it's not there. And so, like we say, there might have been this teleportation or some sort of energy shift to allow the Demogorgon back into the Upside Down.
Right. Right. And then we have Joyce and Hopper entering the Byers' house. So now they're in the Byers' house, but just in the Upside Down. And they're then making the Christmas lights go off. So as they're walking, you're then you get this flash of where Nancy and Jonathan are, and they're watching the lights go off, similar to how Joyce saw the lights go off when it must have been Will, right? And then you have this moment where Jonathan is saying, "Mom?" Because he just has this sense like this isn't the monster. And Joyce can hear him, and she's saying, "Jonathan?" And he's just like, "I don't think that's the monster anymore, you guys." You know, he's expressing that to Steve and Nancy.
That is very intuitive. Like, you know, for this whole storyline,
Yeah.
if you are one of these characters and this is an actual real life situation that's going on, it's you have to suspend disbelief so far. And we've seen all of them have to like deal with that, including Steve in the last 5 minutes. Just have to deal with getting all of this information for what they're even starting to handle.
Yeah.
They have got this Demogorgon that they're trying to deal with. They know that Will is out there. Steve is brand new to all of it. All he knows is that there's a bat with nails on it. I can swing it and hit this thing.
That's right.
I do like the flair that he put on it, by the way, when he's like flipping the bat around in his hand a couple times. Like he's in this for real now. Like,
oh yeah,
he's got it. And he's the one to have the bat, by the way. You know, he's the one that needs the
I like
bat.
that. Yeah. Then he did have the weapon after all.
He got there.
So yeah. And then we're back at the school where Mike is telling 11, you know, that she can live with him once all of this is over. And
this was very interesting because Mike is trying to like incorporate he's trying to get Elle to understand that she would just be part of his family, while also distancing himself as a family member because he doesn't want her to think that they would be brother and sister because he wants more than that. But and listening to him like dance around this whole thing well, you know, my sister would be like your sister, but not me. Like, we're different. Like, it's very different between us. And it's like, well, how? And it's like, well, I don't really know. You know, and then he ends up inviting her to the school dance, which is nice. But at the same time, I kind of am thinking like, how are you even considering a date for the school dance in this atmosphere that we're in now?
It was a lot. Yeah, I feel like they had to squeeze this in because they know what they were about to write into this episode. So they're like, oh, we got to have this moment between the two of them, right? So I did like how they inserted that line again. That becomes kind of classic to the show. Mike, friends don't lie. Because
Friends
11
don't
says
lie.
this to Mike, right, when... because she could tell he was getting real awkward about, well, not your brother, but yeah, no, you should come on a date with me. And so, yeah, she doesn't even know, she just learned what the concept of a friend was to Mike. It's like, buddy, I don't think she's going to quite understand going on a date with you to a school dance, but here we are. And and that's also where,
I think, well, we have this moment here between them where all of a sudden Mike just comes across the table and kisses her. And I think that helped Elle establish, oh, got it. Because you could see it like in her eyes that this is different. I see how this is different now.
Yeah.
But without a full understanding of what's really going on. I mean, even Mike doesn't have a full understanding of what's really going on at this point. And as it is, we then get the headlights kind of coming through the windows in the background.
That's right. Yeah. And Dustin is running in. Guys, they found us, right? So then the kids are hiding just before Dr. Brenner comes in. And they are trapped. So 11 makes, like, basically they're kind of running down one way of the hall, like one side of the hall, and then they look around, and then the bad men are coming down the other way as well. And so they're trapped at this point, and 11 uses her powers to make them all they all essentially start bleeding from their eyes. She's crushing their brains until they all drop.
Seem to be how that went, right? Like all like 4, 5, 6 of them, their eyes start bleeding out, and they're all just frozen. And it feels like we're just destroying them from the inside, and they all just drop immediately. I do want to go back real quick. I think it was Mike that alerted them to the bad guys being there, because I believe Dustin and Lucas had gotten Elle to the pudding and were like trying to give her pudding. And so Mike is the one that goes outside, sees them, and then runs back in and saves and like alerts them all.
It could be.
I think that's where we were at. Because Dustin was so focused on the pudding.
I had Dustin, I thought Dustin was carrying in the pudding.
Yeah, but Mike went outside of the building. and saw the cars
Oh, I
coming
thought he
in.
was too busy kissing Elle. I
No,
don't
well,
know.
there was a weird like
There was a lot
transition
going on.
between there. Somewhere in between, like Mike kissing 11. 11
All right,
then
guys.
gets into the kitchen to see the
Add your
pudding.
comments.
Mike
who's
goes
right? Who's right here?
outside. Yeah, it wasn't. We had this section of the episode is kind of weird. It's a little
Yes.
disjointed.
There's a lot.
Everything else makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense, and this
Yeah.
part was like felt a little forced.
It did. It all happened really fast because it was like, right, you have this one emotion of he's asking her to the dance, and then all of a sudden, like these people are there with the guns pointed at them, and one of the people who got their brain crushed was that agent,
Social worker lady.
social worker lady. Thank you. I'm
Or
like, what
what
was
is
her
it?
name? I had it written down somewhere else, but agent. I'll bring it up again later. But yeah. So she is now dead. She's gone. Bye bye. So
See ya.
and they're all, and then after you see them all drop and the kids are in the hallway with them, then we're back to another quick scene with Joyce and Hopper in the Upside Down, where then they were at the library, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that
Like,
okay?
Like
yeah.
they both they were following these blood prints on the ground, and
Yes.
Joyce is able to see, hey, it's going this way. And then they kind of both pan up and they see that they're at the public library.
It was,
and
right.
they start walking in. Because I was trying to figure out, like, what building does that say? And it was hard to read because, in the Upside Down, they've got all these like vine or vein type structures, and it's going through the wording. But that's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we're back with the boys at the school saying, to Dr. Brenner rather, you'll have to kill us first. Before they can take Elle. And Dr. Brenner he gets a hold of 11 and he's telling her that he's going to make her well again. And she is just saying bad, bad, bad over and over to him. And she's calling out for Mike. She's reaching to him. It was also another kind of heartbreaking scene.
All the boys are being held by like the goon squad for Dr. Brenner.
Yeah.
And
until
out of
the
nowhere,
lights start flashing.
The lights start going. And down at the end of the hall, the wall starts breaking. And I was trying to think, like, okay, what sort of timing is this? Like, why would the Demogorgon be here all of a sudden out of nowhere? And so my logical thought is, okay, he's out of the trap.
Yeah.
Right? They've tracked him down, or at least they think they're tracking him to the public library. But out of this, all of these people now had blood coming from their eyes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yes.
Okay, so maybe the blood coming from these people is the thing that has caused the Demogorgon to appear here.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's not going to be easy to take down. They're not prepared like Jonathan and Nancy were.
No, and I was actually even thinking, Eric, like not only was the blood coming out of their eyes, but also every time 11 uses her power, she also gets that bloody nose.
Sure.
And I'm like, is she always attracting it to her for that reason, right? And
very possible.
Yeah. So, but as then the Demogorgon is busting through the wall, the boys then pick up 11. And while the bad men are busy shooting at the monster. So they're like, all right, let's get the heck out of here. Yeah. Then we're flashed to...
And we do then get the boys and Elle running out. And the Demogorgon, we get this one shot of Dr. Brenner standing there by himself in the hallway. And the Demogorgon just lunges on top of him. And that is the last we see of Dr. Brenner.
Like, ever?
For this episode.
That's what I'm like.
For this episode, it is.
Yeah, because I saw that and I'm like, that doesn't. What is happening here? So that's interesting. Right. So for this episode,
it is.
Yes. And then we're with.
But for all intents and purposes, he's dead.
Right.
That is the thought process. That is the working theory. Although, listen, if you've watched any TV show, you know that if you don't really see them dead, there's always a question. There's
Mhm.
always a question.
Well, and on this show, even if you do see them dead, like Will, it's still a question, right? So,
Oh, he wasn't. Well, we'll get there.
yeah. Well, no, I mean the body, like his body.
Like the
Yes,
body,
like his
it,
actual
yeah.
body. Like
Well, that
what?
wasn't Will.
Exactly.
That wasn't Will.
That's what I'm saying. Well, but then unfortunately we do see another body, and I'm pretty sure that this one really is dead. We are with in the upside down again. Really
Ugh.
quick scene with Hopper finding a body, and it looked a whole lot like Barb again.
That's how
But then
I
I'm
would
like,
interpret it.
okay, because it was really quick and I wanted to ask what you thought about that. I'm like, is this
They,
maybe one of the other 6 kids too? Like,
no, I'm not buying into
it
the
was
6 kids
Barb.
theory.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
there
yeah.
were some skulls,
Yeah.
and then there was this entangled Barb, right?
Yes, that's yeah.
And maybe she didn't look as much like her as the last time we saw her.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
last time we saw her was in that infinite blackness.
It was right.
Where 11 had found her entangled in all of this stuff and was saying
Yes.
gone.
That's
And
right.
so I'm kind of attributing all this to like a spider web situation where the Demogorgon will like catch its prey and bring it here, and then it can
Yes.
feed on it when it wants to. So the skeletons are representing like people that have gone by.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's Shepherd.
Well,
Barb is still there as like a lot less of what Barb looked like when we saw her last. And then we get the pan over to Will, who's looking in pretty good shape in comparison.
Well, right.
Not great shape.
Not great shape, but much better shape than the others for sure. And you see like this tentacle like in his mouth, right? And this scene, Eric, I don't know, are you a fan of the Alien movies, that franchise?
Oh, I mean, I've seen some of them. It's been a minute. I haven't seen any in a while.
So all of this whole section just reminds me a lot of how the Alien was with humans too, where it would like kind of like feed off them and almost like want to turn them into one of them, or I don't know, somehow like invade their body, right? So
I immediately was thinking of the Matrix, and
right.
Like when Neo kind of comes into the what do they call that? I guess into the Matrix for the first time.
Right.
And he's like in that
we're in the Matrix.
Like cocoon, and he's got to like pull this thing out of his mouth to like become like born into the Matrix or whatever it was.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. And I'm sure there is somebody out there that can correct all of what I just said, as far as the technical terms for that movie franchise, but that is what happened. Something like that.
Without going into the details, we are in the Matrix. That was the real world.
Thank you. That's right. You're right. Thank you. I'm like, I know this is wrong, but I don't know how else to explain it. When he's in the alternate reality, but that's not the alternate reality. That's the actual reality. We're actually in the alternate reality.
That's right.
Yeah. I didn't want to dive into all that too much. But...
But anyway, yes, either way, Will is not looking so good, but better than the others. And he has this tentacle in his mouth, which then Joyce is just like instinctually like, let me get this thing out of him. And then Hopper is helping her, and they're both pulling because it's clearly attached to something. I'd be worried I'd be like ripping out his insides or something, but they've got to get it out. And so they finally, Hopper helps her tear it out, and it's on the ground and it's flopping around like it's alive still. And Hopper's
it's definitely alive still.
Yeah, he's shooting at it until it stops. But we're then back at the school where the lights are flashing like crazy, and the boys are carrying Elle into one of the classrooms. And he's telling her, Mike is saying, hold on a little bit longer. The bad men are gone and we'll be home soon, and you can eat Eggos and we can go to the snowball. And I'm like, Mike, relax with the snowball, buddy. Let's get through this moment. Okay. But yeah, it was very sweet. He's trying to make her feel comfortable.
The like the multiple references to the school dance, I'm like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Like, he's trying to keep her spirits up as if she's on her deathbed. And we're talking about going to the school day. Come on.
Yeah. He wanted to bring her to the enchantment under the sea dance.
But okay. But this is then where she says, promise.
Yeah.
And he promises.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
we're hearing lots of gunshots.
And that's when the gunshots are slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, the Demogorgon pops through into the science lab. And here we go. Lucas's shining moment with the wrist rocket.
Yes.
He starts loading, hitting the Demogorgon with rocks, and it's obviously doing nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And then he does it again. Then he gets that fourth magical rock.
That's right.
And he shoots it.
It was so
and the
good.
Demogorgon goes flying against the back wall and is pinned there. And it's kind of like, holy smokes, Lucas, what was that rock made out of?
That whole scene.
And then
that was so fun. It's like, yeah, like, dude, you're gonna need a bigger boat, right? Like, you're gonna need more than that. But then I guess he just like in those classic video games, that's kind of what it made me think of. It's like you could be hitting the enemy like over and over until you hit just just the right spot, and then he knocks this thing against the wall.
That's what the theory is. Yeah. But then 11 comes out from behind Lucas, and it's like, oh, okay, she pushed him against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, she's got him pinned up there.
Okay, all right.
And she just starts
walking
down the Demogorgon. Yeah. The slingshot was present in the scene.
It was.
That is as far as we're going.
That's right. Yeah.
But anyway, she's got the Demogorgon pinned up against the wall. And she's kind of walking up slow, then kind of looks back at the group, tells Mike goodbye, and then basically uses every bit of energy she's got.
Yeah, well, she even like shoves Mike off with her powers because he's like telling her 11 stop, and she's like, bam, and like
she
kind
throws
of
him back.
Forces him back with her energy because it's like, dude, no, you need to stay back. Let me do my job here, right? Like, I'm at work,
and there's all that energy goes right into the Demogorgon.
Yeah.
And essentially, it breaks into a million bajillion particles and is gone, and Elle is gone as well.
It was just, she's saying no more to the Demogorgon, and the way she just put her hand out and is just screaming at the top of her lungs, and it starts just breaking up like slowly into the particles. It's like, this is almost what the atmosphere is now made of, is like maybe all of these busted up creatures, right? And that's kind of the air that is around them in the upside down. And then it's just it's completely destroyed, and 11 is gone too. And how Mike is then calling for her, like saying, Elle, 11, where are you? And tearing up. It was just so emotional. And I want to just jump in really quick right here with, I know I usually talk about some of like the trivia at the end, but two of the things that I'm just thinking of in this moment that I learned about the scene is that this is the first time that the kids were encountered with the Demogorgon where there was no actor involved. It was complete CGI. So all of their acting was like against essentially a tennis ball. That was like, this is the Demogorgon. So that just makes like that emotion so much tougher, I would imagine, for them to come up with without even like this scary monster in front of them. It's just like, hey, act now, like pretend the Demogorgon is here.
Especially for child
actors.
I'm saying.
Right. Exactly.
Like, this was incredibly impressive.
Yeah, and it was Mike, the actor who plays Mike, his first time really in a truly emotional scene. And I felt like he did such a great job there, where he really like captured like, oh my gosh, like in such a panic looking for 11. And it was just, all of them were really good in the scene. And it was,
they really were. They really, really were.
Yeah. And then we're with Joyce and Will, where she's just saying he's not breathing, right? Because Will is now, the tentacle is
Yeah.
out, he's laying on the ground, and Hopper is helping Joyce with CPR. And
There is no
oh,
break from the emotion in this
no,
episode, as we're going from that right to CPR on Will,
right.
and Hopper's having those
Oh,
flashbacks back and forth with his own daughter, and then trying to save Will, and back and forth
oh my
again.
God. Yeah. Yeah. The flashbacks to then, the medical professionals are doing CPR on his daughter in the hospital. This is clearly the moment where she's passed away. And so he's trying to like stay present in this moment with Joyce, and he's doing the compressions. Joyce is doing the breaths. And then,
And
you
it's
also, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's everything too here now, because now, as much as this focus is on Hopper and his daughter, listening to Joyce like is an emotional gut wrench.
Oh
Like,
my
she's
God.
just
Yeah.
finally gotten here. She's to the point where she is in his presence for the first time since ever. We have not actually seen Will and Joyce in the same
No.
spot,
Right. In
short of
present
being on
tense. Yeah.
opposite sides of the wall once.
Right.
Like,
Right.
that has not happened yet. This is the
No.
first time they're able to do that, and she is so close, and
Mhm.
she is just gutted through this whole thing.
Oh, it's yeah. Yeah, it's and Hopper finally just pounds on Will's chest just to get his heart started, which is the move, because then Will finally wakes up and they strap an air mask really quickly onto him, and it's just like, oh, thank God, like we have a positive moment out of all
Yeah.
this, because now we have 11 gone in the other scene, and luckily Will seems to be back. And then we have this really quick flash of a scene where the Wheeler parents are showing up at the school calling for Mike. So they've found out that Mike is there, and they're trying to find him. Um,
It's a
and then
huge
another,
scene at the school too.
oh,
Like, there's a million
yeah,
ambulances and everything. Like,
yeah,
clearly word has got out that something's gone down here.
yeah.
And
It's like, oh, someone heard the gunshots, maybe. Like,
yeah.
oh my God.
And then finding Mike at the school is big. And I kind of was thinking to myself, well, how come we don't see Lucas's parents or Dustin's parents? And they're just not
Yeah,
introduced yet. We will see them in future seasons, but
yes.
they were never cast for this season, so they
I
never
had
brought
that
them in.
I had that same thought, Eric, because I was like, in this scene, but then even more prominently coming up in like the scene in the hospital, and I'm like,
Yeah,
where are these boys' parents? Like,
yeah,
what is
they don't
happening here?
exist. They don't
It was
exist yet.
weird. It was very weird. Come on. And I was actually having trouble remembering. Do we meet them? You remember
Yes,
meeting them? And okay, yeah,
yes, I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
meeting them for sure.
Okay. Okay. Because then we're with Will in the hospital bed where he's waking up to Joyce and Jonathan and asking, "Where am I?" And they're like, "You're home now. You're safe. And we've really missed you." And he's asking if it's okay, if he's okay, when he sees Jonathan's hand, which was really cute, and
Right.
Jonathan's just like, "I'm fine, buddy. Like it's just a cut." And
I've got a
it's
cut. You've been to
yeah,
the upside down. We're fine
yeah,
here.
yeah. And Jonathan's telling him that he made a mixtape. And this is then that scene in the waiting.
Spot like classic 80s move. Like,
Yes,
hey, here's a
yes.
mixtape.
I know, and it's clearly like he must have made it, thinking about, well, I'm gonna give this to him when he comes back, trying to stay positive and in that way. And so then we have that scene in the waiting room, which I was talking about with where the Dustin Lucas's parents don't show up. But it's Steve with the Wheelers. Dustin and Lucas are there too, and
Nancy is there.
Nancy is there, exactly. And then we're with the boys where they're all able to go in and visit Will, and they're giving him a hug, and Will is just saying, "It got me, the Demogorgon." I'm like, oh my gosh. It was just really cute.
I thought thought it was real nice watching Dustin and Lucas and Mike all try to explain everything that's happened in the entire season in like 3 seconds. Like, and this happened, and she was at your funeral, and she was crying, and Troy peed his pants at school, and blah, blah, blah. And
that's right.
It's like, holy smokes.
It was like that first episode where they're trying to explain to Hopper, like, everything that's gone down and how Will, or maybe it was the second episode where, like, after Will has gone missing and they're trying to explain, well, this is where he was and this is where we've been. And everything talking over each other really quick. The boys, you know, they're saying that they made a new friend. So in the midst of all that explaining of what's been going on, you know, we made a new friend. She stopped it. She saved us. But she's gone now. And Dustin says, she's basically a wizard. She flipped over a van with her mind. And blood was squirting everywhere out of their faces. Like, those are just
stories they're going to be able to tell here forever are crazy.
Yeah.
But then we do get this look at Nancy, who's obviously come to make sure Will is okay.
Yeah.
And she kind of steps into the room. She doesn't go and like talk to Will. The boys that's their, you know, area. She just kind of looks, sees that he's okay, sees Jonathan is okay, and then she kind of quietly ducks out the door, and Jonathan turns to look, and he sees her leave, and that's kind of the last, you know, glimpse of the two of them that we get here for a minute. As everyone's starting to kind of get back to reality a little bit, but except for Hopper. Hopper's got to do something here.
Because when Hopper leaves the hospital, he's outside smoking a cigarette, and then this car just like pulls up, and this dude just opens the back door, and Hopper takes that as a cue. Well, he's supposed to go with them.
I guess I'm getting in here.
Car. I guess I'm getting in here. Yeah. Then we get a note on the screen saying we're now going to be flashing forward to 1 month later, and the snow is falling, and we're with the boys playing D&D in the basement, having a great time at the Wheeler's house, just kids being kids again. It's kind of like, oh, we're just back to, you know, status quo, how things were, all is well, right?
Yeah, I mean, they are literally playing D&D. Will clearly activate some sort of thing, and Mike puts out the Hydra, and they're all saying fireball at Will, and it's almost like a pause, like, whoa, hold on, this is what happened last time. Do we want to do this? And Will's like, fireball, and they take down the Hydra, and the whole thing is done. Although noteworthy, John comes to pick up Will. Will's not riding his bike home.
No.
Jonathan is there with the car.
Yes.
And Jonathan comes downstairs and kind of jokes around with the boys a little bit. And then Will, you know, comes up. They go say hi to Mrs. Wheeler, actually say Merry Christmas, because now it's Christmas time.
Yes.
And they are on their way out when then Nancy comes down the stairs. And Nancy runs up to Jonathan and is like, hey, I got you a Christmas present. And he's like, oh, I didn't get you anything for Christmas. She's like, no, don't worry about it. It's not really a Christmas present. You'll see. And so he says, okay. And he takes the Christmas present, and
she gives him a little kiss on the cheek too.
Yeah, a little kiss on the cheek, a little bit of a moment. And then Will and Jonathan head out the door. And while they're sitting in the car, Will asks, hey, can I open it? He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And he opens it up, and it's a brand new camera. Which is full circle for Jonathan. And they flash back inside the house, where then Nancy is going up and sitting next to Steve on the couch inside. And I said, what? What is this?
Yeah. Yep. So I guess they did date, Eric. To like go back to, we were kind of like, did they date? Did they not date in our last episode? I'm like, I don't think they ever actually, well, apparently they do. So, but
this is outrageous. I am not the only person thinking this. Like, Nancy.
Well, and Steve was looking mighty like, I know.
Oh,
Out of all of that
with
stuff,
everything
I mean,
you've been through
come
now,
on.
you're gonna say, yeah,
It's
Steve's the guy?
no,
Don't get me wrong. Don't get
no.
me wrong. I love
I
Steve in the future.
I know, but
But this version right now, today, this is the guy? Come
no.
on, Nancy, you're
Well,
better than that.
because despite how great Steve was in, that moment, and he was, I mean, listen, we also don't know what happened in the month, but all that to say,
No, we
like,
don't.
we do know what happened before that. And it seemed like she was growing more of a connection with Jonathan, but hey, this is where we are. These are teenagers, people. It's not going to make a whole lot of sense. And I do like the fact that still, Steve was then making that attempt to continue to make it right with Jonathan, which was his intention going over his house that other day in the first place, a month prior, where they kicked the monster's butt. And he's asking, did you give it to him? Because clearly this is something that was really from Steve, right? And he
Well,
was
see, he
wanting to.
clearly knew about it and was very okay with it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was all part. So it was maybe from both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you also
but
and you had this moment too, just before that I wanted to mention where Mike was looking at Eleven's fort in the
oh,
basement. He still
I
had
did.
kept
I
it.
went over that.
Yeah, he still kept it set
Yeah.
up, and I thought that was cute and sad. Like it's like, oh, he's
A
wanting
little
her
bit,
to come.
yeah.
He's waiting for her to come back,
Hey,
right? And
you
he's
never
ready.
know.
So
So we get to the police station where they're having a Christmas party,
mhm.
and Hopper is not really interested in hanging out for the Christmas
That's
party.
right.
Seems like he's kind of gone back to like classic old, like original Hopper, where he's just like throwing some stuff in a Tupperware and is like, I don't want to hang out with you guys. I'm gonna take off. And he takes off,
Mhm.
and he starts walking through the woods. And he gets to this weird Dropbox location that's just been, sitting randomly in the middle of the forest.
Yep.
And he opens it up and he puts the Tupperware in the middle of the Dropbox. And then on top of the Tupperware, puts a stack of Eggos
Uh-huh.
and walks away.
Who
And you
likes
go,
Eggos?
oh,
Yeah.
man. Oh, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, what
Something's going down.
is happening here? Right.
What happened in that car ride? I only can wonder.
Exactly. And then we have this quick flash of Jonathan we're back at the buyer's house, right? So
Which, by the way, has had the most amazing repair job in the history of time.
they did a major reno on that thing. Like there is no signs
Like,
of monsters coming through the
no-
ceiling. Although I will say, I
No.
guess even when it came through the wall, it didn't make a hole. It just peeled through. So, but there was still plenty of
What?
other damage. So it's not from the Demogorgon.
Joyce axed through the wall, first of
yeah.
all.
I'm thinking
There
of
is that. Jonathan set the Demogorgon on fire in the hallway. Like, they nailed up
Listen.
about 9 million Christmas lights everywhere.
They made quick
that
work of
place
that.
was, listen, whoever was contracted in for that gets an A+. And
I like to
you
think
live me your business card.
I like to think the group all came together and worked on it together. Hop, the kids, Joyce, like they all just, made quick work of that. And they fixed it right up. And so, yeah, Jonathan is taking pictures with his new camera all around the house. And Will is then, they're ready to eat dinner for Christmas. And Will is saying, I'm going to go wash my hands. And Joyce is kind of like, he's going to wash his hands. All right. But I think it's also because Will isn't feeling right. He doesn't want to say anything, but he goes, washes his hands, and he's coughing. He's coughing up a lot. And then we see like a slug or some piece of what I imagine was that tentacle that had been inside.
Yeah.
It came out. And then he also has this flash, this moment where he's back in the upside down. Like everything around him is like the particles all floating around in the sky. He's no longer, in their home as we know it. He's back in the upside down. And
right.
then
He's still in the same bathroom that he was in, but
Yes.
it's just transformed to the upside down.
Yes.
And then it transforms right back.
Yes.
And then he goes back to sit down for dinner and doesn't say anything.
Right. So he's just trying to probably imagine like, that's just gonna pass, no big deal.
And
Yeah.
I know we went through a lot of this like fairly quickly, but I feel like this after the 1 month later scene from the boys playing D&D all the way here to this was like a significant chunk of time. Like this played out for a while.
Yeah.
Way more than most of the time when you see the like 3 months later and they show something and it's only like 2 minutes at the very end of an episode.
Yeah.
They let this whole thing play out to the point where I keep in the back of my mind, I'm like, this feels so weird. Like, would they really just go back to this? It doesn't feel like that would be the case. It feels like they would be dealing with a little bit more trauma in a month from now than just going back to playing D&D in the basement.
Yeah, the kids are back in school. Like,
everybody's having a good time and nobody was upset. And I'm like, weird.
I agree. Right. It's like, but I think, maybe the idea is that by that time they're making that attempt to just return to normalcy. And
I think
the concept of also like, listen, even the concept of mental health now is foreign for a lot of people. So the concept of mental health in the 80s, no one knew what to do. I'm pretty sure that was kind of the idea where that's like, well, we just went through all that craziness and I guess we'll just try to return to the normalcy as we know it, but we don't really know how else to deal other than like create an atmosphere of just comfort.
I think
and be there for each other.
I think people in general want to be able to get back to normal as they know it. The fastest way that they know how to get back there. Nobody likes change, right? Like everybody wants to just get back to that sense of normalcy. But this was so like, you now know the upside down exists. I don't know how you can just go back to living your life the way that you would live it.
Right.
Like if you all of a sudden told me, hey, by the way, there's another world underneath my feet.
Right.
That would change everything. I have to imagine. I don't know what I would do with that information, but I would have to think that something would be different.
And it's also
maybe not.
Like surprising that. So what did they not find anything when he was being examined in the hospital that was weird? Like, did they do, what type of test did they run? Like there wasn't any part of the government agency that was wanting to, almost quarantine Will.
I'm sure they had state agency like, nurses that were taking care of this with a wink and a nod.
Yeah, there was, there's a lot. And I forget if that kind of, if we get more into that in the second season, to be honest. So we'll have to, But for now, we just know that Will is keeping it a secret. So,
and this puts a bow on season 1.
That's right.
And I will say this is my third, I think, rewatch of season 1. Really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it will not be like, I have not seen the second and third and fourth seasons as many times as I've seen this one.
Yeah.
So this will be very different for me going forward.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into our IMDb rankings and our favorite and least favorite characters for the episode. So each time we do one of these podcasts, we try to give it our rating, and we take a look at what IMDb's ratings is. It's a scale of 1 to 10. You can obviously go on there and vote yourself. Their average score is an 8.6. Last week's was the highest so far. Stranger Things Season 1, Episode 7, it was a 9. But before we get to that, Amanda, do you want to start with your favorite or least favorite character?
So, I have to say, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm picking 2 people. And
Oh, this feels like a violation.
and I'm picking two of them because they were both on my least favorite list before, and I feel like they both had major redemption in this episode, and I couldn't decide which one, but I loved both Steve and Lucas so much in this episode. I feel like if
Okay.
I had to lean toward one of them, it would be Steve, because that whole scene where he busted in with the bat when Jonathan was being held down by the Demogorgon was so awesome. And the fact that he was like, listen, he made that choice to say, I'm just like, who I thought were my friends, these guys are jerks, and I'm going to actually, figure out what's going on with, apologize to Jonathan. And then when all hell started to break loose, he didn't leave. Like, if he really wanted to
Right.
cower off and like say, forget this, like I'm out of here.
No, he could have. He could have hit the road right
That's
there.
right. And so he went in, he picked up the bat and was there for them. And also, Lucas in that moment, like being there with his slingshot. Listen, I'm actually going with the story that I think that rock was magical, and it hit that Demogorgon right in the right spot, and he shot that thing back. Eric's looking at me like I'm crazy.
wasn't the wizard behind him that was just holding him up against the wall.
Oh my god, but
it was the magical rock from that one time. They made it look that way. I'll give you that. And it was fun to see that was the case, because I think that's one of those moments where Lucas lets the rock fly, the Demogorgon goes against the wall, and everyone goes, "Oh my god!"
Yes.
And it's like, "Oh no, it's
I don't know. I think his rock hit it back, and then 11 just suspended it against the wall. And
yeah, that must be it.
But either way, I think both of them had awesome, like, way to go, guys! Like, came back, final episode of the season. Those are the two that were on my mind for favorite. How about you, Eric? Who is your favorite this episode?
I could have picked favorite for like a ton of characters in this one.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely enjoyed almost all of them. I am going to pick Jonathan.
Solid.
And I'm picking Jonathan because I think my favorite parts of this episode were the action sequence with Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve in the house.
It was so,
I think that was the most exciting point to me. So being that would be my favorite scene, I was going to pick one of them. I thought about Steve. I thought about Nancy, but I don't like how Nancy and Steve left the end of season 1. And I really like seeing Jonathan say, "Hey, I'm here for Will 100%.
That's right.
He's got to get picked up at the end of the day. I'm picking him up." He made him a mixtape. He is at his side at the hospital bed.
Yeah.
Like this is a rejuvenated family and a rejuvenated brother. Now, I could have picked Joyce. I could have picked Hopper. I could have picked 11. Like, there's a number of people who deserve to be like favorite characters. So, hey, leave us a comment. Let us know who yours is.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm going to stick with Jonathan on this one. And I'll go first with least favorite. And again, for this one, it's not really least favorite. It's like most ignored in this episode. And I'm going to go with Dustin.
Okay.
Because I feel like Dustin's role outside of trying to get pudding was very minimal.
Yeah.
Like, he was part of the skirmish in the hallway. He was trying to give Will all the information, and he was a part of the D&D game at the end, but no critical moments for Dustin. He didn't do anything wrong, but he also didn't do anything right. So I'm going to stick with Dustin because I think he just it was one of his just weaker performances as a character. Not the actor, not his fault. He just didn't have the lines. They just didn't give it to him.
Well, I'm going to jump in with my least favorite character now, Eric.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the woman who I finally gave a name to, because now she is no more. Agent Connie Frazier, because this woman,
On her
yes,
deathbed.
on her
you're
deathbed,
doing
because this is my last opportunity. And this woman, after I was thinking about it, I'm like, how have I not picked this woman yet? She killed the guy at the diner, Benny. She has been just, she went to the AV club teacher's house to try. She's just been wreaking havoc. She's been, just awful to everyone. She's been trying to, I mean, this is her job, but I do not like it and I do not condone it. And I won't get to pick her after this point because she's dead, but yeah, she's just manipulated so many people to lead the group and corner the kids. And luckily she underestimated 11 and was taken down. So yeah, that's
brain
right.
squeeze.
Boom. That brain just popped like a cherry. So
you got the bloody eyes is what you got.
Right. And then she was used as as an agent to bring in the Demogorgon, so it all worked out.
Let's get to the rating on this episode, and I'm very curious. I want to be very clear. 8.6 is the average. 9.0 was the last episode, and it was the highest so far.
Yeah.
What do you think here?
Listen, I realize that I'm not doing this to pick what I think it's going to be, because I think it's probably going to be lower than what I'm rating it, due to what Eric just explained, that like the average is 8.6.
But I think there's going to be some real big numbers on certain episodes.
All right. Well, either way, my rating for this one, regardless of that, I'm giving this a 9.5. I loved this episode. This one to me was just, oh my God, it was such an awesome season finale. Everyone was just so on point. Like you said, I mean, it was tough to even pick a favorite character. Everyone did a great job. So yeah, I'm giving that a 9.5.
So I'm torn here on this, because I could see this being easily the best episode of the season. Easily, right? It's the culmination of everything. And they did a really fantastic job pulling it all together. At the same time, I think I personally hold more like nostalgia for the previous episode, with the van flip and them getting together and like building the tank, and like the whole concept of learning everything before they go out into the battlefield. And then today we have a very like emotional episode where, everybody's connecting.
Yeah.
And it just, I'm going to end up giving it, I gave the last one an 8.9. I'm going to give this one an 8.9 as well. I think it's similar.
Yeah.
I won't be shocked if it's like a 9.5.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not any better. It's just as good. It's great. I love both of them. Knowing that the last one was a 9 makes me want to think that this one will probably be in the 9s. But I'm going to stick. Yeah. I gave it an 8.9, so I'm going to give this one an 8.9 too.
I loved that scene so much, where Steve came in and like they were all working together to like take down the Demogorgon. Oh my goodness. That one, I was like, this is the best scene ever.
That is one of the better scenes as well. That one, that's the scene that has like the nostalgia blast to it. When you kind of get that moment of Steve showing up for real. But then, just being back with Nancy at the end. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I guess she was really impressed
of that decision. Listen, it is what it is. Anyway, the correct answer, not the correct answer, but the answer that IMDb has decided to give it, the fans
the people's
voted,
choice.
The people's choice is a 9.3. Not
man.
Very,
all right.
I am not surprised at that at all.
Okay.
It makes a ton of sense. And I was just trying to be logical with my own numbers, I guess.
Hey, that's all right.
But you are definitely a lot closer today. 9.3, which makes this then.
This is the best one.
9.3. This is now the top episode to beat.
Yeah.
On Stranger Things.
Nice.
I do think there will be episodes that beat it down the line.
Yeah.
But what a fantastic season finale, right?
Yeah. No, for sure. And Eric, I do want to point out there were a couple things around the music and some trivia that I was reading about. So the music, I had to look this up because I recognized the song, but I couldn't place it at all. And really, I've never, I think that I'd heard this song a while ago, but it had been a long time. It's called When It's Cold, I'd Like to Die by Moby, is that song that's playing in that really emotional scene where they're doing CPR on Will. And I just love that track. It fit the mood of that scene so well, where it's like flashing back and forth between the Hopper with his daughter in the hospital room and then when they're giving CPR to Will. It was just perfect placement. And again, this show always makes me want to look up the soundtrack and
Oh yeah.
find those songs. So yeah, Moby, who I don't know if Moby makes music anymore, but yeah. The one thing I will
Nope.
say is that song though came out in 1995. And so we're not always staying on point with meaning they're not always just going to do songs straight from the 80s. Like it still had a very retro feel, but they might use songs that are not of the time, which I just wanted to point out. I thought that was kind of interesting.
I think on that note, they got away from it towards the end of season 1.
Yeah.
And I think it's reasonable. For the first half of season 1, there's a lot more like, hey, this is life in the 80s moments.
Yeah.
In the back half of season 1, it is like, hey, we're going to battle.
Yeah.
And so the soundtrack's got to change to reflect that. You can't have 80s pop songs playing while you're beating the Demogorgon with a nail bat.
Sure, but it just, I wasn't sure if they were trying to, just only use music that had been out at that point as well. Because I think that they do a lot of
largely they will when the scene is appropriate to do so.
Yeah, if they found a good song that happened to be from another time, they're going to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the songs that they pick still have an 80s vibe feel to them.
Yes,
even though they may not have been in the 80s. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah, and this one did. Definitely. So some other things I wanted to point out, a couple things I learned was that Millie Bobby Brown, Eric, guess how many lines she had in this entire season?
Oh, Millie Bobby Brown. How many lines did she have in this season? Okay. I'm just running through the numbers in my head, sliding the abacus, dials around.
8 episodes.
I'm going to say, yeah. So there's 8 episodes. She said a lot less at the beginning than she did towards the end. Even in this last episode, she only said 5 or 6 lines. I'm going to say 48 lines.
That is a very good guess. She had 42 lines.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I multiplied it by
yes. Yes.
Hey, because she doesn't say that much.
No. So
early on too, she says so much with just her eyes.
Yes.
But she says 2 or 3. I think she's got maybe 2 or 3 lines in the first episode and 3 or 4 lines in the second. By the end, she might have 10. But I was going with average about 6 lines an episode.
Her longest line was when she said, "Mike, I'm sorry, the gate, I opened it. I'm the monster." Right? Where she's after she had passed out, after she pulled him up when he tried to jump into the quarry. That was her longest line. And the second one, her second longest line was when she was with Will in the Upside Down. And she's saying, just hold on a little longer. So both of those lines, not very long. And those were her longest ones. Otherwise, I think it was a lot of friends, Mike, talking to him.
And she just had a lot of visual.
Oh, she was so good.
Non-auditory acting to do.
Yeah.
A lot with her eyes, a lot with nods, facial expressions. really phenomenal for someone who was only like 14 at the time, I think. I don't even know how old she was, to be honest with you. I think she's only 21 now. But yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So apparently, the Duffer brothers who created this show said that this episode was the most challenging so far for them to pull off, and it was really the enthusiasm of the cast that made what they called the impossible possible. That it was really just the great acting, right? And that for them though, no other episode came as close to how tough this one was to pull off. Which I thought was interesting. Because I also read about the last one. The van flip scene was also really tough and really crazy. Yeah. And they actually called that one the funnest episode so far for them to make. That they had the most fun with the last one. Yeah.
Well, you put everybody together for the first time. That changes everything. Like, you could almost film a lot of this show without the cast seeing each other for a while. Yeah. But yeah, this was listen, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm so glad we're rewatching Stranger Things. It's only making me more excited to watch season 5 when it comes out. Hope you all are as well.
That's right. Oh, hold on. I have one final thing too, just because
sure.
Is that Millie Bobby Brown, did you know that scene where she and Finn Wolfhard, who plays Mike, that was her first kiss ever.
I think I had heard them talk about that before.
Yes,
that
and
for
which I'm
both
like,
of them,
yeah, they were children. Yeah, so
yeah, yep.
I guess they were both eating like entire containers of Tic Tacs before that scene.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then she had got up, apparently. Please shout out if you've heard otherwise, but I've read that she yelled, "Cut! That's kissing. That's it. That sucked." And just like, and I'm like, oh my god, poor Finn. Like, wow. Hopefully she was saying it laughing, but oh no, that is pretty bad. Although I don't know if laughing would make it better, but that's rough.
You don't bounce back from that.
No,
you don't bounce back from that. That's tough. That's tough to handle. Well, thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and TikTok and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And again, we really appreciate you guys checking in with us weekly. Drop a comment, share it with a friend. We would really greatly appreciate that. Check out our website at werunonreruns.com. For Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy starting to rewatch season 2 of Stranger Things this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.